But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that?
It's one thing to criticize a politician you never believed in, and something entirely different to publicly dismantle someone you once admired on live television, and that is exactly what Bill Maher just did. Maher has spent years defending, praising, and at times even protecting certain political figures, which is why this moment hit with such force when admiration turns into open ridicule in front of a national audience. It stops being commentary and becomes a public reckoning. This was not a casual joke or a passing remark. This was Maher signaling that the patience is gone and the illusion is over.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Kristi Noem, who looks like they could do porn.
When Bill Maher joked that the most memorable part of Gavin Newsom's legacy might be his ability to succeed in the adult entertainment industry, it was not just humor, it was brutal symbolism. Imagine being the governor of one of the most powerful and influential states in America, only to have your political legacy reduced to your appearance. Maher stripped away the resume, the speeches, and the self-promotion, and left only parody. That moment said more about the collapse of Newsom's credibility than any policy debate ever could. When even your former allies start mocking you, the brand is already in freefall.
I don't want to say I don't want to say he really, really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears. They'll attack him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
The reality on the ground in California explains why this criticism is landing so hard. The state has effectively rolled out the red carpet for homelessness through permissive laws, lack of enforcement, and endless excuses. This is not compassion, it is institutionalized dysfunction. Under Gavin Newsom, homelessness has surged beyond control. Sidewalks have become permanent encampments, neighborhoods feel abandoned, and residents are left navigating disorder as normal life instead of firm, practical action. The response has been performative empathy and endless spending with little result. At the same time, crime has increased as consequences have evaporated. Break the law, and odds are you walk away. Homelessness up, crime up, safety down, quality of life collapsing. That is not conservative talking points, that is lived reality.
Of course, the knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I notice slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
Here Bill Maher finally verbalizes what many Californians whisper every day. Gavin Newsom is style over substance. He is polished, charismatic, and camera-ready, but underneath the presentation is emptiness. He excels at speeches that sound meaningful while solving nothing. He can talk for 20 minutes without answering a single question. Californians do not need poetry, they need solutions. Charm does not build housing, clean streets, or restore public safety. And when Maher, someone who once admired Newsom, calls him out publicly, the mask begins to slip.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want for running president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win.
This is why Gavin Newsom's national ambitions are effectively dead. His record is too visible to hide. Residents are fleeing California in record numbers. Businesses are relocating. Jobs are disappearing. The middle class is being squeezed out by taxes, housing costs, and regulation. Even lifelong Democrats are openly frustrated when your own base starts questioning your leadership. The national stage is no longer an option. No amount of media polish can erase empty cities and shrinking opportunity.
Look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate. And you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
It's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like
one of Maher's strongest points is that Gavin Newsom is weighed down by the non-stop woke spectacle he actively promotes. Voters are exhausted by identity politics injected into every corner of daily life. California has become ground zero, from education mandates to cultural micromanagement. Nothing is allowed to exist without ideological framing. Even toy aisles become political statements. This kind of tone-deaf governance plays well on social media but fails everywhere else. Average voters are not asking for lectures. They want normalcy, stability, and competence.
too much government there.
That's an interesting one, because the department stores came to us supporting that. And they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case, they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know the top priorities are homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
This is the classic political illusion. Gavin Newsom acknowledges the problems and pretends that awareness equals leadership. Everyone already knows the state is on fire: homelessness, crime, taxes, business flight. These are not secrets. Leadership is not recognizing failure. Leadership is fixing it. Smooth speeches do not put out flames. Action does. Yet year after year the same problems worsen while the same rhetoric repeats. California is still waiting for results.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
That was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
Then there is the water crisis. Nearly 80% of California's water is consumed by agriculture, with massive amounts used to grow almonds in a drought-stricken state where residents are scolded for long showers. Corporate farms drain billions of gallons. Why? Because money and political power outweigh common sense, while families ration. Big agriculture thrives in a state battling fire and thirst. Its most precious resource is being mismanaged beyond reason.
A boatload of almonds.
I'm well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Yeah. Come on, man. Take on big almonds.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No. You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California.
No one performs confidence better than Gavin Newsom. Every interview feels rehearsed, every answer sounds optimistic, but strip away the polish and nothing changes. Homelessness keeps rising, crime spreads, businesses flee, costs explode. This is not progress, it is performance. His greatest talent is not leadership, it is image management, and image does not keep streets safe or families housed.
Good at this. I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay, but here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what? But you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. There's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
At the end of the day, Gavin Newsom represents the peak of woke political theater, and if America ever hands him national power, expect the same failures on a larger scale. California should be a model. Instead, it is a warning. Remove the charm, remove the slogans, and the pattern becomes clear. Leaders like Barack Obama and Gavin Newsom thrive on illusion, spectacle, and branding, while real problems deepen. Obama sold hope and delivered division. Newsom sold the California dream and left the state. Fractured America does not need performers, it needs problem solvers. California was the warning, ignore it, and the entire nation pays the price.